Captain clicked her sharp claws against the command chair as she watched the human ship on her screen. The metal sound echoed through the bridge of her warship. Her yellow eyes gleamed with excitement. Today would be another easy victory for the hegemony. "Target identified, Captain," her weapons officer reported. His voice carried the same confidence that filled the entire crew. One human cargo vessel, old model, minimal shields, no visible weapons. Stood up, her tall, insect-like body stretching to its full height. Her 4 arms moved gracefully as she adjusted her uniform. For 200 years, she had commanded fleets for the hegemony. She had conquered 17 different species. All of them had begged for mercy in the end. "Humans," she said with disgust. "Soft creatures from some backwater planet. Intelligence reports say they surrender quickly when faced with superior force." The bridge crew chittered in agreement. They had heard the stories. Humans were weak traders who lived on a planet with too much gravity. Somehow they had survived and made it to space, but they were cowards. They always gave up without a real fight. 3 warships surrounded the human vessel now. Each ship was 5 times larger than the human cargo freighter. Their weapons could destroy the small ship in seconds. This would be simple. "Open communications," ordered. The main screen shifted to show the bridge of the human ship. A female human sat in the captain's chair. She had short dark hair and wore a simple blue uniform. She looked calm, which surprised. Most species showed fear when facing ships. "I am captain of the hegemony," she announced. "You are surrounded. Your ship is. Surrender now and your death will be quick." The human captain smiled. It was a strange expression, not the terrified look expected. "I'm Captain Sarah of the cargo vessel Defiant Spirit. What do you want?" "Your ship, your cargo, and your crew," replied. "We will process you for useful labor. Do not resist. It will only make things worse." Looked around her bridge, could see other humans working at their stations. They all seemed remarkably calm. Perhaps they were in shock. Fear could do that to weak minds. "We're just merchants," said. "We trade goods between colonies, nothing valuable enough to fight over." "That is for us to decide," said. "Prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will result in immediate execution." The human captain was quiet for a moment. She seemed to be thinking. Finally, she nodded. "We understand. We don't want any trouble. We'll cooperate fully." Felt satisfaction wash over her. Another species that knew when they were beaten. This would be even easier than she thought. "Wise choice," she said. "Lower your shields and prepare docking ports. We will send boarding parties immediately." The communication ended. Turned to her boarding commander, a veteran named. He had led successful boarding operations on dozens of ships. "Take 3 squads," she ordered. "Secure the bridge first, then check their cargo holds. I want a full inventory of everything valuable." Saluted with all 4 arms. "Yes, Captain. Should we expect any resistance?" Laughed. It was a harsh, clicking sound. "From humans. They just surrendered without firing a single shot. They're probably hiding in their quarters already." On her command screen, she watched the Defiant Spirit lower its shields. The ship drifted helplessly in space. Its old engines barely kept it stable between the 3 warships. It looked exactly like what it claimed to be an old cargo vessel trying to make peaceful trading runs. The ship's hull was covered in scratches and dents from years of use. Its paint was faded. The cargo sections were clearly marked with shipping company logos. Everything about it screamed civilian vessel. Harmless. Defenseless. Had seen ships like this before from other species. They were always filled with frightened families or weak traders. They carried food, basic tools, maybe some primitive art. Nothing worth much, but every conquest added to the hegemony's strength. "Boarding shuttles launching," reported her tactical officer. 3 small ships detached from the fleet. They moved toward the human vessel like predators approaching wounded prey. Each shuttle carried 12 elite soldiers. more than enough to handle whatever pathetic resistance the humans might offer. Had read the intelligence reports on humans carefully. They came from a high-gravity world which should have made them strong, but somehow it had made them weak instead. They avoided conflict. They preferred talking to fighting. They had some basic technology but nothing compared to weapons. The reports mentioned that humans had some kind of military, but it was small and poorly equipped. Most humans were farmers, traders, or factory workers. They lived peaceful lives on their scattered colonies, perfect targets for hegemony expansion. Shuttles docking with target vessel, came the report. Watched the tactical display as her forces connected to the human ship. Soon, she would have another victory to add to her record. The hegemony's territory would grow by one more system. The humans would join the dozens of other species working as slaves in factories and mines. Boarding successful, his voice came through the communication system. No resistance encountered. The humans are gathered on their bridge as ordered, beginning sweep of the vessel now. Excellent, replied. Take your time, make sure you find everything valuable, and keep some of the healthier humans alive. They might be useful as workers. She settled back into her command chair, already planning her report to Hegemony Command. Another easy conquest, another species that knew better than to fight the inevitable. The defiant spirit floated between her warships like a trapped animal. Its crew was probably terrified, wondering what would happen to them, felt no sympathy. This was the natural order. Strong species conquered weak ones. They had been doing this for centuries. Soon this sector of space would belong to the hegemony. The humans would serve or die. Either way would return home victorious once again. She had no idea that everything she believed about humans was completely wrong. Stepped through the docking port onto the human ship with confidence. His 3 squads of soldiers followed behind him, their weapons ready but not raised. This would be routine. The humans had already surrendered. The corridor was clean but showed signs of age. The walls were painted a dull gray color. Overhead lights hummed softly. It looked exactly like every other cargo ship he had boarded. Nothing special, nothing dangerous. Squad 2, take the engine room, he ordered through his helmet communicator. Squad 3, secure the cargo holds. Squad 1 with me to the bridge. His soldiers moved with practiced efficiency. They had done this hundreds of times before. They were experts at boarding operations. No species had ever successfully resisted them once they got inside a ship. As they walked through the corridors, noticed something odd. The humans they passed seemed calm. Most species showed fear when soldiers appeared. They would shake, cry, or try to hide. These humans just watched them pass with steady eyes. A human male in work clothes stood near a cargo container. He nodded politely as the soldiers walked by. "Morning," he said casually. Ignored him, probably in shock, he decided. Fear affected different species in different ways. The bridge was small and cramped. Captain sat in her chair, hands folded in her lap. 2 other humans stood at control stations. They all wore the same blue uniforms. All looked completely calm. "I am boarding commander," he announced. "You will provide us with all ship records, cargo manifests, and crew information." Nodded, "Of course, whatever you need." She gestured to one of her crew members. "Lieutenant Martinez here can get you anything you want to see." The human called Martinez was a young man with dark skin and short black hair. He moved to a computer station and began typing. "What specific information would you like first?" he asked politely. Was surprised by their cooperation. Usually there was at least some argument or pleading. These humans acted like this was normal business. "Cargo manifest," he ordered. "I want to know everything you're carrying." "Right away," Martinez replied. The screen filled with data. Lists of containers, shipping codes, destination planets. It all looked legitimate. Stood up from her chair. "Would you like me to show you around personally? I know the ship better than anyone." That won't be necessary, said. His soldiers would handle the search, but he was curious about something. How many crew do you have aboard? 12 total, answered immediately. All civilians. We're just trying to make a living hauling cargo between colonies. Nodded. That matched what his scans had shown. A small crew for a ship this size, but humans were known to automate most of their systems. His communicator crackled. Squad 2 reporting, engine room secured, no resistance. 2 humans working here, both cooperative. Squad 3 reporting, came another voice. Cargo holds are huge, lots of containers, checking contents now. 3 humans helping us with the inventory. Everything was going perfectly. Allowed himself to relax slightly. This would be finished soon. Walked over to a wall display showing ship schematics. These are the layout plans if your teams need them, she offered. The cargo holds can be confusing. Lots of passages between sections. Thank you, said. He studied the display. The cargo area was indeed complex. Multiple levels connected by walkways and service tunnels. Plenty of places to hide valuable items. His soldiers would need to be thorough. Meanwhile, throughout the ship, things were not what they seemed. In cargo hold C, Sergeant Maria Santos lay perfectly still inside a modified shipping container. Through a tiny hidden camera, she watched 3 soldiers examining nearby boxes. Her container was marked "Industrial Cleaning Supplies" in faded letters. The aliens had already dismissed it as worthless. Santos wore full combat armor painted matte black. Her assault rifle was loaded with armor-piercing rounds. She had been waiting in this position for 6 hours, ever since they received the long-range sensor warning about alien ships. 2 meters away from her, another container held Corporal James Wright. Behind him, Private no relation to the captain, waited in a third box. All around the cargo hold, similar containers held more soldiers. An entire platoon of human Marines lay hidden, watching the aliens through concealed cameras. In the service tunnels above, Staff Sergeant crawled silently through maintenance shafts. He and his team had spent 3 days modifying these passages, installing hidden weapon caches and communication equipment. The aliens had no idea they were being watched from above. The Defiant Spirit was not what it appeared to be. Yes, it was a cargo ship, but it had been specially modified for Operation Shepherd, a deep-cover military mission. The cargo containers held 48 elite human Marine raiders returning from a classified strike behind enemy lines. Captain was not a civilian trader. She was a retired Navy commander with 20 years of combat experience. Her crew were all military specialists. The ship itself had hidden weapon systems and reinforced armor disguised to look like normal civilian modifications. The Marines had spent months training for this exact scenario. They knew alien boarding tactics. They had studied ship designs and weaknesses. Most importantly, they had learned to wait. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Williams chatted casually with the alien soldiers while making minor adjustments to the power systems. What the aliens didn't know was that he was actually charging hidden weapon systems and unlocking armored blast doors throughout the ship. "How long have you been traveling in this sector?" one of the asked. "Oh, about 3 months now," Williams replied. "Peaceful run mostly. Good trade routes out here." He flipped a switch that the aliens couldn't see. Deep in the ship's hull, automated systems began deploying concealed turrets. The Defiant Spirit was transforming from a helpless cargo vessel into a warship, but so slowly and quietly that the alien sensors detected nothing. Back on the bridge, glanced at her watch. Right on schedule. She touched a control pad hidden under her chair. Throughout the ship, tiny indicator lights began blinking in the Marines' hiding spots. The signal meant 15 minutes to action. "Commander," she said would your people like some water or food? It's a long job searching a ship this size." Looked at her suspiciously. No other species had ever offered refreshments to boarding parties, but humans were known to be strange. "We require nothing from you," he said coldly. Shrugged, "Just trying to be helpful. We don't want any trouble." She was telling the truth in a way. She didn't want trouble. She wanted complete and total victory, and in 14 minutes she would have it. The countdown had begun. Looked at her watch one more time. 14 minutes had passed since she activated the countdown. Time was up. She pressed a small button hidden on her chair's armrest and spoke one word into her collar microphone. The word echoed through hidden speakers throughout the ship. To the soldiers, it sounded like meaningless human chatter. To 48 Marine raiders, it was the signal they had been waiting for. In cargo hold C, Sergeant Santos smiled grimly inside her helmet. She counted to 3, then exploded out of her container like a deadly surprise. The modified shipping box fell apart around her, revealing her black combat armor and military rifle. The 3 soldiers, spinning around in shock, had exactly 2 seconds to realize their mistake. Santos put precise bursts of armor-piercing rounds into each of them before they could raise their weapons. Their advanced alien armor meant nothing against human military ammunition. "Contact! Contact!" she shouted into her radio as she moved to the next position. All around the cargo hold, more containers burst open. Marines emerged from every direction, their weapons already aimed at the scattered alien soldiers. They had spread out to search more efficiently. Now that worked against them. Private rolled out from behind a fake cargo crate and opened fire on 2 aliens examining containers nearby. Corporal Wright dropped from an overhead hiding spot directly behind another enemy soldier. In 15 seconds, Squad 3 was completely eliminated. In the engine room, Chief Williams ducked behind a control panel just as his 2 Marine escorts revealed themselves. The hidden blast doors slammed shut, trapping the alien soldiers inside with angry humans who had been pretending to be helpless engineers. Staff Sergeant and his team moved through the service tunnels like deadly ghosts. They dropped through hidden access panels directly behind soldiers, who never saw the attacks coming. The aliens had superior technology, but they had never faced humans who specialized in close-quarters combat. On the bridge, Lieutenant Martinez stepped away from his control station and drew a military pistol from a hidden holster. The other crew member did the same, both weapons pointed at. The commander stared in disbelief. "What is this? You surrendered." Captain stood up slowly, her friendly expression replaced by the cold look of a combat veteran. "We never surrendered, Commander. We invited you aboard." Reached for his weapon, but Martinez was faster. The shot took him in the shoulder, spinning him around. He crashed into a wall and slid to the floor. "Bridge secured," announced into her communicator. "All teams report status." Cargo hold clear, 4 enemies down. Cargo hold B clear, 3 enemies down. Engine room clear, 2 enemies down. Service levels clear, 5 enemies down. In less than 3 minutes, all 36 soldiers aboard the Defiant Spirit were either dead or captured. Not a single human had been seriously injured. But was far from finished. "Computer, activate battle configuration," she ordered. The ship's systems responded immediately. Throughout the hull, hidden panels slid open to reveal weapon ports. Armor plating shifted and locked into combat positions. The old cargo ship's disguise fell away like a shed skin, exposing the military vessel underneath. On the bridge displays, targeting systems came online. The 3 warships appeared as red enemy contacts. Their shields were down. Their weapons were not charged. They had never expected a fight. "Martinez, begin electronic warfare protocols," ordered. "Let's see what these alien ships are really made of." Martinez's fingers flew over his controls. The communications officer was actually a cyber warfare specialist with 15 years of experience breaking enemy systems. Human quantum computers began probing the networks, looking for weaknesses. I'm in their secondary systems, he reported. Their security is good but not perfect. Give me 2 more minutes and I can access life support and navigation. Activated the ship's external communications. It was time to talk to Captain. The alien captain's image appeared on the main screen. Her yellow eyes were wide with shock and confusion. Behind her, the bridge crew scrambled frantically at their stations. "What happened to my boarding parties?" demanded. "Our communications went silent." "Your soldiers are dead," replied calmly. "Except for a few we kept alive for questioning." His mandibles clicked rapidly. "Impossible, your cargo haulers, civilians." "No," said, "we're human Marines, and you just made the biggest mistake of your lives." The Defiant Spirit's weapons powered up with a low humming sound. Targeting lasers painted the 3 enemy ships. Warning alarms began sounding on the bridges. "Surrender now," continued, "and we might let some of you live." Shock turned to rage. "You dare threaten us? We have 3 warships. You have 1 pathetic cargo vessel." Smiled, it was not a friendly expression. "Martinez, show them what a pathetic cargo vessel can do." The ship's main guns fired. Streams of plasma energy lanced out toward the nearest warship. The aliens' shields flared and held, but barely. Their ship rocked under the impact. "Impossible," screamed. "Cargo ships don't have weapons like that." "This isn't a cargo ship," replied. "This is a human military vessel, and you're about to learn why attacking Earth's children is a very bad idea." More Marines were moving through the ship now, no longer hiding. They secured weapons from the dead aliens and prepared for the next phase of the battle. These weren't ordinary soldiers. They were raiders, the most elite troops humanity had ever trained. Each Marine had survived years of brutal selection and training. They had fought in dozens of battles against pirates, rebels, and hostile aliens. They specialized in boarding actions, urban combat, and impossible missions. They had walked into a trap designed by the deadliest warriors in human space. "Captain," Sergeant Santos reported, "all alien prisoners secured. We found something interesting in their equipment: slave collars and neural control devices." His expression grew even colder. They weren't just pirates or raiders, they were slavers. That changed everything. "How many of your boys are ready for an EVA mission?" "All of them, Captain. We've been wanting to stretch our legs anyway." Looked at the tactical display. The 3 enemy ships were beginning to charge their weapons and raise their shields. Too late. They had hesitated too long, confused by the impossible situation. "Martinez, target their weapon systems. I want them disabled, not destroyed. We're going to board them." "Ma'am, that's 3 ships with full crews against 48 Marines." Smile grew wider. "Then it's almost a fair fight, almost." The real battle was about to begin. The Defiant Spirit's weapons fired again, this time targeting the engine sections of the ships. Precise shots disabled their ability to escape without destroying them completely. Wanted those ships intact. "Martinez, status on their computer systems." "I'm through their primary firewalls," he reported. "Their technology is advanced, but they never planned for human cyber warfare techniques. I can control their internal systems now." "Good, disable their artificial gravity on all 3 ships. Let's make this interesting." Across the void of space, the crews suddenly found themselves floating helplessly as gravity shut down. Tools, weapons, and crew members drifted in confusion. The aliens had never experienced zero-gravity combat. Turned to her Marines. "Listen up, people, we're going to take those ships. 3 teams, 16 people each. You take the command vessel. Santos, you get the ship on our port side. Williams' starboard target is yours." "Ma'am," said, "we don't have boarding shuttles." "No," replied, "we have something better. Martinez, activate the teleportation system." They had made a critical error. When they boarded the Defiant Spirit, they brought their own transportation technology with them. Human engineers had spent the last hour studying the captured teleportation devices. Now they would use alien technology against its creators. "Teleportation matrix ready," Martinez announced. "I've locked onto targets throughout all 3 enemy vessels. The aliens won't know what hit them." Assembled his team near the modified alien. Each Marine carried enough firepower to level a city block. Their armor was painted matte black to avoid detection. Their weapons were loaded with a mixture of armor-piercing and explosive rounds. "Remember," told his squad, "these things are slavers. They were planning to put control collars on human civilians. No mercy." The Marines nodded grimly. They had all read the intelligence reports about slaving operations. Entire species had been enslaved by these creatures. Not today. "Transport in 3, 2, 1. And his team disappeared in flashes of blue light. They materialized directly on the bridge of Captain's command ship. The bridge crew was floating in zero gravity, trying desperately to regain control of their systems. They had no idea enemies had just appeared behind them. Opened fire immediately. His assault rifle sent streams of bullets into the nearest alien officers. In zero gravity, the impact sent bodies spinning across the bridge. Yellow alien blood formed floating spheres in the air. His Marines spread out with practiced efficiency. They had trained for zero-gravity combat extensively. The had not. "Bridge secure," reported. 12 enemies down, moving to engineering section. Captain tried to draw her sidearm while floating upside down. Marine Corporal Davis shot the weapon out of her hands, then fired a stun round that left her unconscious but alive. They would need prisoners for interrogation. Meanwhile, Sergeant Santos and her team materialized in the weapons bay of the second ship. Gun crews were struggling to load their massive plasma cannons while floating in zero gravity. Santos and her Marines methodically eliminated them one by one. "These aliens have never fought in zero-G," she reported. "They're helpless up here." The third team, led by Chief Williams, appeared in the engine room of the starboard vessel. The aliens there were trying to restart their gravity generators. Williams put a stop to that with a grenade that destroyed the main power coupling. "Engine room secure. This ship isn't going anywhere." Throughout all 3 vessels, the pattern repeated. Marines appeared without warning in critical ship sections. The confused and disoriented by the loss of gravity couldn't mount an effective defense. The aliens had superior individual technology, but they had never faced human small unit tactics. Marines moved in coordinated teams, covering each other's movements and concentrating firepower where it was needed most. More importantly, humans had been fighting in space for generations. They understood zero-gravity combat, shipboard battles, and urban warfare. They had conquered through overwhelming force and superior technology. They were unprepared for enemies who were simply better soldiers. "All teams, this is," came the captain's voice over their radios. "Remember, we need some of these aliens alive. Stun the officers if possible. We have questions for them." Acknowledged as he led his team through the corridors of the command ship. Floating alien bodies drifted past them, evidence of the Marines' deadly efficiency. They had built their ships for intimidation, with wide corridors and high ceilings, perfect for humans with military weapons. They encountered a group of alien soldiers trying to set up a defensive position near the ship's armory. They were good fighters when they had advantages like cover and prepared positions, but floating helplessly in zero gravity while humans with superior training shot at them was not a fair fight. "Contact front," called out as he fired controlled bursts at the alien soldiers. His team spread out and flanked the enemy position. In 30 seconds, the firefight was over. On the second ship, Santos discovered something that made her blood run cold. An entire deck was filled with holding cells designed for prisoners, slave quarters. Each cell could hold a dozen beings in horrible conditions. "Captain, you need to see this," she transmitted. "We've found their slave ship. These bastards have been doing this for a long time." His voice came back ice cold. "Understood. Continue the mission. We'll deal with that later." The systematic capture of all 3 ships took less than 2 hours. They had numbered over 300 across their 3 vessels. When the shooting stopped, only 47 aliens were still alive. The rest had learned the hard way why attacking humans was a mistake. Stood on the captured bridge of the command vessel, looking out at the stars through the main. Bodies floated around him like grotesque decorations. The ship's computer systems were under full human control now. "Captain, all 3 vessels secured. Enemy resistance eliminated. We have prisoners ready for questioning." "Excellent work. Begin downloading their computer databases. I want to know everything about their operation, their territory, and their military capabilities." Santos reported from the slave ship. "Ma'am, their computer logs show they've enslaved 12 different species over the past 2 centuries. Millions of beings. They have a whole network of slave camps and processing centers." "Then we'll have to do something about that, won't we?" The captured officers were brought aboard the Defiant Spirit for interrogation. Captain had regained consciousness and stared at with a mixture of hatred and fear. "Impossible," she muttered. "Humans are weak, peaceful. You're supposed to be traders and farmers." Sat across from her in the interrogation room. "We are traders and farmers. We're also soldiers when we need to be, and you just gave us a very good reason to be soldiers. The hegemony will destroy you for this, when they learn what happened here." "They'll learn exactly what we want them to learn," interrupted. "You're going to help us send them a message." Through the ship's windows, the 3 captured warships hung in space like trophies. Human Marines were busy stripping them of useful technology and gathering intelligence about alien military capabilities. But had bigger plans than just capturing 3 ships. They had made the mistake of showing humanity what they really were: slavers, predators who attacked the innocent. That would not be tolerated. The war was just beginning. 3 days after the battle, Captain stood in her quarters reviewing the intelligence data her teams had gathered. The information was far worse than she had expected. The hegemony controlled 17 star systems and had enslaved billions of beings from dozens of species. Lieutenant Martinez knocked on her door. "Captain, we've finished analyzing their computer databases. You're going to want to see this." Followed him to the bridge, where the main screen displayed a star map of space. Red dots marked slave camps, processing centers, and military bases. The scale was enormous. "They've been operating for over 400 years, Martinez reported. "They have a standard pattern. Scout a system, identify weak species, send a small fleet to demand surrender. Most species give up without fighting. And the ones who don't, orbital bombardment until they change their minds, then mass enslavement of survivors." Studied the data with growing anger. They weren't just raiders or conquerors. They were systematic predators who had perfected the art of enslaving entire civilizations. "What about their military strength?" "Impressive on paper," Martinez said. "They have over 2,000 ships spread across their territory. But here's the interesting part. They've never actually fought a real war. All their victories have been against species that surrendered quickly or couldn't mount effective resistance." Joined them on the bridge. His teams had finished their examination of the captured ships. "Captain, these aliens have advanced technology, but their tactics are terrible. They depend on fear and superior firepower. They've never faced an enemy that fought back effectively." Nodded thoughtfully. There were bullies who had never met anyone stronger than themselves. That was about to change. "What's the status of our prisoners?" "We've got 47 of them in the holding cells," reported. "Most are regular soldiers, but we have several officers, including Captain and 2 of her sub-commanders." "Good, it's time to send our message." had been planning this moment carefully. They expected their enemies to be weak and frightened. Instead, they would receive a demonstration of human capabilities that would shake their entire civilization. She walked to the communication station. Martinez, prepare a full data package. I want complete records of the battle, detailed scans of our weapons and tactics, and a comprehensive analysis of their weaknesses. Make sure it's impossible to ignore or dismiss. Yes, ma'am. What about the prisoners? We're keeping most of them, but Captain and 5 others are going home. They'll carry our message personally. An hour later, stood in the ship's main cargo bay facing the 6 prisoners who would be released. They had been cleaned up and given medical treatment, but their eyes still showed shock and fear. Captain stepped forward, her 4 arms bound behind her back. What do you want from us? I want you to go home, replied. I want you to tell your people exactly what happened here, every detail, how humans fight, what we're capable of, what happens to slavers who attack our ships. She gestured to a large screen that showed recordings from the battle, video of Marines emerging from hiding places, alien soldiers being systematically eliminated, ships being captured with impossible speed and efficiency. This recording contains everything, continued. Technical specifications of our weapons, analysis of your tactical failures, proof that humans are not the weak prey species you thought we were. Watched the battle recordings with horrified fascination. Why are you showing us this? Why not just kill us? Because dead messengers can't deliver messages, said. You're going to return to your space and tell everyone what you've seen, every detail, every mistake you made. She walked closer to the alien captain. But the message isn't just for your military leaders. It's for every species in the galaxy. We've added something special to your ship's communication array. It will broadcast this recording to every inhabited system within 100 light years. His eyes widened in understanding. Wasn't just sending a message to the. She was announcing humanity's presence to the entire region of space. The hegemony will never accept this humiliation, said. They'll send everything they have to destroy you. Smiled coldly. Let them try, we'll be waiting. She led the prisoners to a small ship that had been prepared for their departure. The vessel's weapons had been removed and its engines limited to basic transportation speed. But its communication equipment had been enhanced with human technology. Remember, told as she stepped aboard, tell them everything. How 12 humans pretending to be merchants destroyed 3 warships. How 48 Marines captured 3 ships with full crews. How easily we broke through your technology and tactics. The alien ship departed, carrying its message of defeat and warning. Back on the Defiant Spirit, watched it disappear into hyperspace. Around her, the captured vessels hung in space like prizes. Her Marines were busy installing human technology and preparing the ships for their journey home. Captain, Martinez said, we've finished uploading the AI packages into the captured ship's computers. They'll be able to fly themselves back to human space. Excellent, and our guests? Smiled grimly. The remaining prisoners are secured for transport. Intelligence will want to talk to them extensively. We'll learn everything about operations, technology, and weaknesses. Nodded. Operation Shepherd had been a complete success. What was supposed to be a routine transport mission had become humanity's first major victory against an alien empire. But she knew this was just the beginning. Set course for home, she ordered, and send a priority message to Fleet Command. Tell them we've made contact with a hostile alien empire. Tell them we won the first battle, and tell them to start preparing for war. The Defiant Spirit and its 3 captured escorts jumped to hyperspace, carrying proof of human military capability back to Earth. 2 weeks later, ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of territory. Her message was already broadcasting on all frequencies, telling the galaxy that humanity was not prey. The recording spread from system to system. species that had been enslaved by the watched in amazement as humans systematically defeated their oppressors. Free civilizations learned that there was a new power in the galaxy, one that fought back against bullies and slavers. In the halls of the High Command, emergency meetings ran day and night. Their intelligence reports about humans were completely wrong. These weren't weak traitors to be enslaved. They were warriors who could destroy fleets with ease. For the first time in 4 centuries, the hegemony faced an enemy that didn't surrender. Captain had kept her